Fernando Sohr's Opus 35 number 17, otherwise known as Segovia Sohr Study number 6, was composed in 1828. It's part of this Opus 35, which is a collection of 24 studies, many of which made it into the Segovia edition of the 20 studies by Fernando Sohr. These are really bread and butter pieces for us to help us work on technical issues that come back again and again in more difficult pieces. So I just want to dive right in and work through study number 6. So the first thing to note, much like many of the Sohr studies, this is a piece that helps us focus on melody and accompaniment. And the melody and accompaniment are very easily identified. The melody are always stem notes that go up, the accompaniment always stem notes that go down in the score. So when you're looking at the score, be it the facsimile that I've included in the comments below, you can access that PDF, or whether or not you buy the Hal Leonard edition of the Segovia version of these 20 studies, it's easy to see where the melody is and where the accompaniment is. So I want to start out by just addressing the melody in the first phrase. So we're going to break this apart phrase by phrase. The first large phrase starts with the pickup and goes into measure 1 and concludes all the way in measure 8. So it's really an 8-bar larger phrase, and there are 2 smaller subsections of 4 measures each, but we'll talk about that in a second. So let's play through just the melody, just the stem up notes in measures 1 through 8. A really charming melody, and you can see it's all set up most of the time where you can dampen notes that are not supposed to ring through, and I suggest that you do that whenever you have an open string moving to a closed string. Make sure you dampen that first note so you're not getting 2 notes ringing against one another. Now take a listen at the accompaniment for those same first 8 measures. And when you combine those 2 lines, you get this really beautiful back and forth dialogue between the melody and the accompaniment. So now we've established the main theme. Now he starts to develop that theme just a little bit. The next large phrase starts with the pickup at the end of measure 8 into 9 and concludes in measure 12. So again, I'm going to break it up. Let's do just the melody first. Really gentle, really beautiful. That's matched by this answer coming from the accompaniment. Just charming. And when you put them together, phrase that you just learned continues to develop, starting in the pickup from in measure 12 to measure 13. And now we explore some even more interesting harmonies. This phrase resolves itself in measure 16 with a large descending arpeggio. So let's again attack just the melody. So the melody of the next phrase, starting in measure 12, going into 13. In this section, it's going to be the accompaniment that's tricky. You have some very interesting harmonies accompanying that melody. So if I play just the accompaniment, we have and now we'll put them together. Into a minor key, and so we're really going to have this very singing melody that also is starting to explore this minor key based on the dominant of the key that we're in. So it's like a minor dominant. So just the melody starting in 16 going into 17. That concluded in measure 20. Let's listen to the accompaniment in this section. And now we'll put both together. The next phrase will start in the pickup going from 20 to 21, and this phrase will go all the way through to 24. And this is kind of our last big developmental phrase. You've got some very cool stuff here as we move to the key of D minor, which is like a minor 1. We started out in D major, so we've really modulated to the parallel minor, and this stands out to us. So again, break it up. Melody first. So here we go. The melody starting, pick up from 20 to 21. And we end, as you can hear, on an A major chord, a major dominant, which will take us back to D major. Let's listen to the accompaniment in that section. So again, starting from the pickup from 20 into 21. And we'll put them together. There are 2 phrases left. The next one is a reprise of the first phrase of the piece. There are some subtle differences, but it's really almost identical. I'd use the same technique, break it apart. Let's play just the melody, starting in 24, the pickup in 24 going to 25, all the way through to 28. So here we go. So a couple of interesting little changes there, setting up the last phrase that'll end the piece. Here's the accompaniment, very similar to the first line of the piece. And we'll put them both together. The last phrase, he takes that opening line, that opening melody, and now varies it in order to really bring us back home and settle the piece down. So I'm going to again break it up. Here's just the melody. This is starting in the pickup from 28 to 29 and going to the end. And that's matched with this accompaniment, starting in 29. When you put them together, it's such a wonderful conclusion to this piece, starting in 28 with the pickup into 29. So just a charming balance study. You definitely want to emphasize the top notes, the melody, and you want to bring the bass down just a little bit so it's not completely overpowering, but you want to hear that interplay. In the original, there are some notes that Segovia has altered. If we take a look in those last 3 or 4 measures, you'll see in the facsimile that I've included, there's actually a B7 chord that Segovia has changed to be B minor, and that there are several notes in that, a D sharp, which is now a D natural, and an A, which is now a B. So you may want to take a listen to that and see whether or not your ear prefers the original from the facsimile with that B7 chord. My ear actually prefers the change that Segovia made. I'll look forward to seeing you as I create more of these lessons on the 20 studies from the Segovia edition.